Are making progress with our editing of our shapes. So some other tools that you can use is, what if you want to split something in half? What if you want to change some of these cubes? So I have 3 cubes to show you different ways to cut these in half. Use some cutting tools. So I'm going to show you first the knife tool. So with this first box, I'm going to go to my edit mode, and you have a whole bunch of tools here. There's a tool here that yours probably has the knife tool. If you hover over it long enough, you'll see that it has the knife tool. I want to make sure I'm on vertex. But I can take this and now kind of cut where I want to. When I'm done cutting, I can double click and it shows that I'm done. But to accept these cuts on here, I have to hit enter on my keyboard. But the cool thing with this now is I have these slices so that if I want to, I can click on a face and delete it. And so I can now edit my cube based on the faces that I want it to have. So I have a little bit more control. I'm going to go to the second box. I can also use a bisect tool. It's in the same area. So I'm going to go back to my edit mode. Where the knife is, underneath the knife, there's a bisect tool. And I can kind of cut this in half. And it gives me control so I can like eyeball it a little bit better. It gives me some lines and some directional tools. I can rotate it if I need to be a little bit more straighter. I can do some different things. So you do have a little control with this extra tool that comes along. But there's a new box down here at the bottom that says bisect, which gives it its power. In these sections, I can move the bisect tool around a little bit, so you can mess around with that. I'm not interested in showing you that as much as down here at the bottom. I can clear the inner, and now I got rid of that side, and I can even fill it if I want to, give it a cap. So now I just cut this whole cube in half. Or, of course, I can clear the outer, which does the opposite side, and I can fill that in half as well. So there's some different tools that you can use to bisect an object in half. But what that does is it gets rid of the whole other side. I just want to cut it in half, and I want both sides to be separate. So I'm going to show you that with my third cube. I'm going to go back to edit mode so I can click on this third cube. And in edit mode, I want my bisect tool again. So I'm going to cut it in half, and that's probably good for me. But now what I need to do is select half of it. So new selection tool. If I go to, I changed my mind. I don't want a new selection tool. I just want to click on half of these faces, and I'm using my control key to get this side of my cube, and I have all of my faces selected. Sometimes it's valuable to do a circle select, and you can kind of click and drag to get, let me do that, I'll show you that. So if I go to select, circle select, I can kind of click and drag. If you have like the monkey that you're working with, and you have a lot more faces, that works really well for that. So you can select on all those. I'm just going to go back to right click to get out of the circle select. I need these last 2 faces. And then I want to right click on this. There's a separate under the menu that appears, and I want to separate by selection. So now this whole section is separate from this whole selection. So if I go back to object mode, I now can pull this side apart, and it's separate from the other thing. I still have the whole object, but now I bisected it and I have 2 separate parts to that object, so I can pull things apart.